while a cabinet minister by the name of Wyke, is it Wyke or Wike or Wike? While a cabinet minister has more or less become a third-time state governor in Rivers State, pampered by the indulgences of the president. Recent events have made it clear to Nigerians that had this assembly been in place in 2006, when the third-term agenda was proposed, our democracy would have since morphed into one of Africa's lamentable tales of sit-tight dictatorship. To the president of the Nigerian State Senate, who has not heeded the call to subject himself to an unbiased investigation, to clear his name of the allegations leveled against him, and under whose leadership the National Assembly has become a carry-go legislature, hiding under the umbrella of technicalities and a dubious voice voting system. I leave you and your conscience with the words of Frederick Bessier, former deputy of the French National Assembly. He said, and I quote, "When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it." To the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, under whose brand of politics the institution of legislative oversight is collapsing and our democracy is faced with an existential threat, I say, Mr. President, Nigeria is too delicate for this kind of politics. If this state capture was what you meant by a Miloto, it is an anticlimax that can only be counterproductive at the end. I urge you, Mr. President, to think deeply and reflect on these words. No man is wise enough, nor good enough to be trusted with unlimited power. Mr. President, please stop playing God. Four years ago, on Sunday, April 4, 2021, in a speech titled "The Conspicuous Handwriting on the Wall," I warned the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government about the dangers of the second-term curse. The second-term curse is a pattern of presidents being less successful in their second terms. Citing the Wall Street Journal, I pointed out that political analysts have identified hubris as the cause of this pattern. This was one of the moments I took a strong public stance against the policy positions and governance outcomes in the previous administration, despite my access to the president. I did it because I did not want that government to fail. Much as I disagree with the politics of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I'm speaking up today because, again, I do not want the president to fail. It is not in the interest of any Nigerian, let alone the Nigerians whose survival hangs in the balance for President Tinubu to fail. Whether we like it or not, this administration holds the reins of our economy, and we cannot allow them to flush it down the drain. From its approach to governance, right from its first day in office, the current administration, though in its first term, seems to have drifted in the sea of hubris. In the process, steering the polity adrift and struggling to stabilize it. Since justice, equity, and good governance are the foundations for national prosperity, and because injustice can frustrate any economic agenda, it is time for this government to embrace humility and govern with justice and fairness before it is too late. God forbid we should say, as we did to the House of Commons in 1935, when the situation was manageable, it was neglected. And now that it's thoroughly out of hand, too late, the remedies which then might have effected a cure. There is nothing new in this story. Want of foresight, unwillingness to act, when action will be simple and effective, lack of clear thinking, confusion of counsel until the emergency comes, until self-preservation strikes is bearing down. These are the features which constitute the endless repetition of history. It is for this reason that I'm compelled to present the truth about and a pathway out of Nigeria's economic dire straits. I'm now proceeding to the economic challenge before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As we may recall, the renewed hope upon which the President rode to power began to dwindle from day one, with the mishandling of such sensitive transactions as the fuel subsidy and exchange rate regimes, and even the coup in Niger. Within a year and a half of this administration, the implementation of the otherwise audacious economic policies triggered an avalanche of economic hardships for the Nigerian people. It led to excruciating food inflation, with over 1 million additional Nigerians thrown into severe food insecurity. It further led to an over 430% increase in fuel price as of October 2024. At the same time, Nigeria experienced the highest ever rate of currency depreciation and the lowest foreign direct investment record, going by data traced back to 2013, even as multinationals began to exit the country. To capture in data the despondency experienced by Nigerians as a result of the reforms, my attention was drawn to the misery index, which is the sum of unemployment and inflation rates. According to the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, Nigeria has one of the world's highest misery indexes, with many Nigerians experiencing a cost of living crisis and weak purchasing power due to rising inflation. Furthermore, a July 2024 report by the Financial Times described the conundrum in these words: in the nearly 15 months since Bola Tinubu became president, he has forced his 220 million fellow Nigerians to swallow some bitter medicine. He removed the generous fuel subsidy, one of the few benefits citizens receive from their inefficient and corrupt state. He allowed the country currency, the naira, to enter free fall, fueling imported inflation and triggering the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. These measures have pushed tens of millions of already impoverished people deeper into misery. The stampede deaths in several cities at the end of 2024 were the most horrific climax to the economic hardships experienced by Nigerians. The heartbreaking reports of parents throwing their children over a fence in Ibadan to ensure access to charity food distribution, leading to the death of over 35 children, were tragically almost reminiscent of the biblical famine in Samaria, during which parents resorted to eating their own children for survival.